Perhaps you recall those commercials promoting a nationally recognized credit card and the benefits of ownership. You know, the ads that make it sound like you will have instant recognition as a savvy shopper, a frugal budgeter, I think that's correct, and someone who makes wise and safe investments if you are seen with their credit card in your wallet. Now, the commercials that come back to me are not the recent ones with Alec Baldwin or with that bumbling family of Vikings. It's the one before this group. It shows a concerned husband with all of the additional charges and fees, with credit cards demanding for their services. All the while in the background you see a pirate ship approaching, bloodthirsty pirates hanging over the edge, brandishing their cutlass and knives, poised to attack the innocent couple. Just then the wife says, "But honey, we use such and such card. There are no fees or outrageous charges for us to worry about." The attack is interrupted, the pirates are deflated and dejected. Then the camera zooms in on the scruffiest one of the whole bunch, who says, "Arg, what's in your wallet, matey?" Well, more on this in a moment. Let's look to the Torah portion for this week. Throughout the world, the Jewish community has been studying this week the opening chapters of the book of Numbers, in the Hebrew, Bamidbar. This portion is read on the Shabbat which precedes the festival of Shavuot, which we, along with the entire Jewish community, will celebrate this next Tuesday evening. This festival celebrates the giving of the Torah to every generation of the Jewish people. Here at Temple Israel, we will begin at 6 with our service welcoming our first fruits, those infants born into our community since last Rosh Hashanah. And then there will be a study session with our rabbis at 7:30, followed by a brief Shavuot service here in the Danziger Chapel, where Rabbi Bowman and I will be joined by Temple Israel's women's ensemble, Sweet Words of Torah. It's going to be really quite beautiful. We will then conclude our celebration of Shavuot on Wednesday morning at 7:30 for coffee and cheesecake. I think the cheesecake's what's meant to bring you in. Followed by Yizkor, our memorial service with Rabbi Greenstein and Rabbi Bowman. This festival of Torah is also the time when we celebrate that important moment in our young adults' lives as they confirm their commitment as Jews with our service of confirmation. And that service follows this early service in the sanctuary. So, let's explore a bit of this Torah portion that the early rabbis decided to link so closely to the festival where we receive Torah. It opens with, "Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe b'midbar," there's where he gets the name, Sinai, "be'ohel moed, be'echad lachodesh hasheni b'shana hashenit, let's say, tam me'eretz Mitzrayim lemor, sa'u et rosh kol adat b'nei Yisrael lemishpachotam, levet avotam, b'mispar shemot." And the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they came out from the land of Egypt, saying, "Take a census of all the congregation of the people of Israel, by families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of names." Well, Moses is commanded, "Sa'u et rosh." More than just to take a census, the Hebrew says, lift up the heads of those being counted. This showed that each and every person is important. The Torah considers everyone to be created equal in the eyes of God. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It also means that Moses, as the leader, must take steps to elevate the spirits of a downtrodden group of slaves. This is important as each tribe is expected to step up and accept the obligations inherent within the Torah. So what is this moral obligation? Well, one lesson given by the rabbis of old was that the Torah refers first to the children of Israel, thereby bringing each generation, past, present, future, into the story. Each of us are included in this saga of freedom and peoplehood. And as the rabbis go on to remind us, we then become responsible one for the other. Bamidbar continues by enumerating the names of all 12 tribes and their descendants. Each name is mentioned. And why? Perhaps so that no one could say to themselves, he didn't mention me. My name wasn't mentioned. He didn't mean me. So we might ask, what's in a name? And if you're like me, you cannot help but think of the famous quote from William Shakespeare's tragedy Romeo and Juliet. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Well, I hate to take exception with our dear friend Will, but Jewish tradition, in fact, takes a radically different view. A name is so important that the first ritual a Jewish child experiences is that of being welcomed into the Jewish people by receiving a Hebrew name. Anita Diamond writes in her What to Name Your Jewish Baby, quote, "Like Adam's appointed task of giving names to all living things in Eden, naming is an exercise of power and creativity. Well, in this morning's commercial appeal, there was an interesting article about the current trend in baby names, and it says, and I quote, "Talk about high expectations for a newborn. King and Messiah are among the fastest rising baby names for American boys." The article continues by saying that Jennifer Moss, author of the 1 in a Million Baby Name book, discourages parents from giving their children, quote, expectation names like Justice and Chastity. Moss continues, "We feel that it kind of puts undue pressure on the child when you use those kind of grandiose or purity names." Well, either way, I don't think anyone would deny that bestowing a name upon an infant is a significant moment in their life and in the life of their family. We wrap the infant in all of our hopes and dreams and prayers when we give them a name. The name they carry through life can define how we see them and how they see themselves. Ultimately, our names represent all of the noble and positive characteristics we create for ourselves as we interact with the world around us. Are we kind, generous, caring, and thoughtful? Do we express concern for others? Have we touched the lives of those less fortunate to help make their lives better? Well, all of these characteristics become the credit, if you will, which we add to our moral and ethical credit card, our name. In bestowing a name upon an infant, perhaps the most prevalent tradition is to name the infant after someone who embodied the qualities you hope to instill within this new life. The hope is that the essence of that person's neshama, their soul, and somehow their positive qualities will be transmitted to your baby. The more you know about this person, the more informed you'll be when it comes to telling your child about the person after whom he or she is named. And your child will ask, for children are fascinated with names. They love to hear the stories about their namesakes. They love to relate these stories to their friends as a way of saying, see, this is who I am. Well, Jewish tradition looks at a name the same way. The question which now comes to mind is, what kind of name have you created for yourself? What kind of name do you carry in your wallet? A name is something so valuable that the rabbis of old considered it as important as life itself. According to tradition, if you rob someone of their good name, if you embarrass them so that the blood rushes to their face, it is as if you had committed murder. A little extreme? Well, not really, because a name is the only earthly possession we take with us when we die. We cannot take our wallets filled with riches. So the question becomes, what's in a name? The answer, all that I am. So, the next time you see one of those commercials, you might want to imagine Moshe Rabbeinu, our beloved teacher Moses, standing on top of Mount Sinai, hands raised to the heavens, holding up the 2 tablets, looking intently at you and asking, what's in your wallet, matey? Good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.